that was my last 4 days. I've had a collective of 7 hours of sleep in the last 4 days. And this morning I was up, back to the picture. So I get up at 3:20. I was pushing it because you're supposed to get up 40 minutes before Sensei. I was like, 40 minutes? Holy crap, that's like freaking 2:50 a.m. And I had to wash his gi, and he didn't want it dried because it shrinks. So I was up till almost 2:30 air drying, because it only gives us 30 minutes on the dryer. So you do 30 minutes, you push the freaking button, it's like, and the damn thing wasn't drying. So I was up till 2:30. I must have put it on for, at least 4 hours of freaking air dry. And I know he did it on purpose. The gi's not going to shrink. Are you kidding me? It's such BS. So anyway, so I get the gi dried, I get it packed, I crash, I collapse, and like my alarm goes off. I was like, I'm not getting up at 2:50, screw that. So I get up at 3:20. I'm like, I could totally get ready in 10 minutes and get Sensei up. So I get up, I'm like, tired as hell. I walk to the room, Sensei, hey, wake up call. Sensei, wake, very humble, wake up call. He's like, okay, hey, come in here. I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? He's like, I want to repack my bags. I'm like, are you kidding me? We have to leave in 30 minutes. I get up at 3:20, he gets up at 3:30, we have to leave by 4. I have to make his tea at the same time as I'm packing his bags at the same time. I'm like, no! So I'm like, I help him get repacked. I'm like, okay, I'm good. And he calls, so we have our host, and then my sensei from my dojo at the house as well, and he calls all of us into the bedroom. He goes, hey, tell Walsh and Walsh sensei and the other sensei, come in the bedroom. And so I'm like, oh crap, I really screwed something up. So we walk upstairs, Squeaky, that's how I knew if he was going to go downstairs and try to sneak away, because he tries to sneak away to catch me off guard. whole nother story. So go up the stairs, enter the bedroom, and he pulls out his phone, and he shows me a picture, and I wish I could show you guys, and he was staying in one of the girls' bedrooms, and on the bed was a bunch of stuffed animals, like a bunch of stuffed animals, and they were arranged really in a cute thing. When we got there, I didn't know that, but he showed me the picture on the phone, and he goes, a good Otomo wouldn't have to have his sensei take a picture to have the bed made the same way that it was when he got there. A good Otomo would think 4 days ahead, take the picture, and make the bed. So at 3:30 a.m., I helped him pack his bags, and I had to set up 18 different stuffed animals in exactly the same way as the picture was before getting to the airport, so we wouldn't miss our flight to be here with you guys. But back to your point. I told you it would be a windy road.
Is what running an online business is like.
Yes. But in all seriousness, it's all in the details, and it's all in the strategy, and it's all about thinking ahead. And you can only think ahead if you're firmly rooted in the present moment right now. You see what I'm saying? The more flustered I get, the more I'd screw up. But the more rooted in the present I was, and the more strategic I was about what I was doing and planning the day, the more effective I was at being an Otomo. In business, strategy is all about having the ability to anticipate what's going to happen and problem solving. Yeah. And that takes being present, firmly rooted in the present, but anticipating the future and being able to see ahead and being strategic about what happens in the future. Does that make sense, guys? Yes. Awesome.
So, who here got a ton of value out of Tyson's presentation just a minute ago? Yeah. And who here was kind of sucked in to Tim's story just now when he started telling the story? So remember, again, look at it from a marketing perspective and then also, again, the consumer perspective, and realize that, again, when we're telling stories, how engaging it is for all of you and how much of a master Tim is at it, and how, again, every lesson should have a story and every story should have a lesson for those who attended the workshop. But awesome stuff.
Thank you.
Cool. So my next question, you're in a unique kind of category of one of those individuals who I feel like there's a lot of people out there who have created success, and there are very few people who have created success and managed to have their students over and over and over again go out and create success on their own with their own businesses. And you're one of the people who have literally really created a movement. with, your first original attraction marketing. You're the godfather of attraction marketing. Who here has heard of attraction marketing in the room? I didn't mention the first introduction, but Tim is essentially the founder of attraction marketing. We've talked about Mike Dillard a few times over the course of the weekend. Tim was Mike Dillard's original mentor. We've talked about the power of mentorship throughout the entire weekend. Tim has been the mentor to so many people who have created such an impact in this industry. And what's kind of the difference that you see between the individual who is successful and the person who isn't? Because what I say is that, again, we give the same tactics and the same strategies in our courses and our mentorship programs to everyone. But some people go out and crush it, and some people don't. And what do you see in the people who really go out and crush it?
Great question. I love good questions. So first of all, I didn't do any of that. I appreciate it, but I didn't do it, and that's the key. They did it. And a true mentor measures his success in his ability to help, not do, help his students, his or her students have results and have success. And that doesn't come from spoon-feeding information. It comes from teaching people leadership. Huge difference between, again, tactical and technique and leadership and mentorship. Very, very different. True mentorship is about empowering and imbuing skills and behaviors that create real and lasting results, that help people, instead of just giving them the answer, to become resourceful and figure out things for themselves. And so that's, I think, the key for me is, if you ask me a question, usually I'm going to ask you a question back. And it pisses people off, and I'm not trying to be like a annoying Zen type person. I'm just wanting to help. And this I learned from one of my mentors, Blair Dunkley, Melissa Dunkley. They're my mentors. They're awesome, amazing people. Is that results don't come from giving people answers. It comes from asking effective questions. Yep. And so when I have anything that I need to solve, I don't look for a better answer. I actually look for what's a more effective question. Yeah. And I teach other people how to do the same thing. And yeah, I have to fill in a little bit, but in order to ensure that they get it, I have to ask questions. So what did you understand about that? So actually, let's do this right now. Can we just do something really quick? Can you turn to your neighbor and explain to them in your own words the difference between, your feeling of the difference between a tactic and a strategy? Go ahead.
I don't.
They were falling asleep.
I know. A little bit. A little bit.
You can give an example if you'd like. "15 seconds. "5 seconds. Stop! It took you way too long to explain that. Clearly you're not getting this. I'm just kidding. So what do you think I did that for? To engage you and wake you up, but because you guys were like... That was one reason, but there's another reason. What do you think that was? It caused you to think, because you had to put it in your own words. So you had to process what you thought strategy and tactics meant to you, right? So do you think that that's a more effective way to teach than to just tell people information? Yes. Now here's the cool thing. Raise your hand if you got a lot of valuable information this last few days. Absolutely. And it's awesome. But until you distill that information and you take that and you go, okay, where am I really now? Like, what is true now? Where do I want to be? I call it Suckville, Awesome Town. And there's always a new Suckville, no matter how well you're doing. Here and now is Suckville, and I say it jokingly, but there's always another place you want to be. And I call it, well, we'll do it this way. Suckville here, Awesome Town here, right? And it's important to know where Suckville and Awesome Town is. Suckville is where you are now. You're in Suckville right now.
Yep.
I'm in Suckville right now. And it's not really Suckville, but it's being aware of where you are versus where you want to be and understanding the gap between the two. Those are your bumpers. So you want to learn how to take these tactics that you learned and some strategies and put them into your game plan, into your strategy to get the results you want. You have to be clear about where you are now and where you want to be. Does that make sense?